is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. Today we're going to take a look at some retail stocks. We're going to take a look here at Home Depot, at Lowe's, Walmart, Target, TJ Maxx, and Costco. Now, the CPI number came in here today, and it's pretty flat. So I think the Fed is definitely going to cut a quarter point, and maybe a quarter point here each time they meet by the end of the year. We got to see how that shakes out. But right now, I don't see where the inflation was rolling in here to such an extent where they wouldn't cut. Inflation is creeping in, but not that big of a deal. So let's take a look at some retail stocks here. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy or sell any stock by the ETF. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Here we have Home Depot. Now remember, when that CPI number came in, okay, it wasn't nowhere near as hot as what I thought it was going to be, and say a lot of traders either. So obviously the market is rallying. The Dow's up 560. NASDAQ's 149, the S&P's up 51. So we're going in that direction. Now, when the Fed does cut, if they cut a quarter point this time and they're planning on maybe another quarter point and another quarter point, you could have 75 basis points. That would be great for retailers, okay? And that'd be good for housing. That'd be good for like Home Depot and Lowe's. And people will be out there buying because the interest rate would be a lot better off. Maybe, okay? Just but remember, last year at this time, the Fed cut a half a point and the interest rates went up. So we got to see how this all shakes out. But that's the theory anyway. So let's take a look at some retail stocks. Okay, here we have Home Depot. They can see what a really nice, good run this has had. We have a low, higher low, higher low. Just nice, good rally up, holding that 8-day, 21-day, 50-day. Everything is bottom left, upper right. Look, she's a beaut, Clark. Now you can see here where we're breaking out. Okay, so we're looking at that 420.58. That's the key level that we need to go. It's like, hey, we had consolidation, then we ran up. We have another consolidation. And then now we're breaking out. So we need to hold that right there, that 420.58. Now, today's high so far, what do we have? Is we had 423.52 level. So what is your next target? See, very simple. We just go right to the left of the chart, 426.19. Okay, then we'll just come right up here. We'll take a look at that. You're looking at 428. Then we just bring that price channel right across. You're looking at 436. And then we have your big retest up here at 439.37, and we have to see what the reaction is once and if it does get up there. Now, if it can close above this number, well, then obviously you're going to that 450 and you're going to work yourself all the way to 500 level. Very, very easy. But let's see how it all shakes out. Now, we have a negative divergence going here. See how we have this high? Now we have this higher high, but this is like what all the charts are doing right now. We have this negative dirt. Eventually, this will come off, but as of right now, it just keep on melting right on up, okay? So what we're looking on the downside, big it up nice for you. Okay, we're looking at this here, this 420.58. You want to hold that. Now you can see where it sold down today. Where did it go? Right down to that 8-day. Look on that. Look how nice that is. Okay, see? 414.49. That's going to be very, very key on a closing basis. We lose that, we come to the bottom of this candle at 411.74 level, and then we'll be looking for that 21-day at 408. Then we can come down to the bottom of this candle here, looking at that 402, and then we can come down to the bottom here. You're looking at 398, and then we have your 396 level. We'll come to the bottom there at 392. Then we're looking for that 50-day at 388. Then we have your 200-day right below that at, let's see if I can pull that up there. Yeah, at 383, and then we have your 100-day below that. But you can see how nice this is. See how that 8-day, everything is on the upside situation, okay? So now your MACD, your green is over red, so it shows good, very, very good momentum kind of situation. But again, just pay attention to this negative divergence that's going on. But again, when you look at all the indexes, everything is pretty much the same way. So eventually it plays out, but as of right now, it's not going to. So today, what you want to watch is it close above that 420.58. You close above it, then we just aim for all these targets here on the left side, okay? Now, I'm going to go over this weekend here about candlesticks in chart patterns and different kind of things on where support and resistance levels are. Now, it doesn't matter how far this goes out, a situation. Then no matter how, you can go out a year, 2 years, 10 years, and these are still all these candlesticks are still very, very much in play. Okay, but we'll go over that a little bit more in detail over the weekend. Okay, let's take a look here now at Lowe's. Okay, here we have Lowe's. Okay, now we just had Home Depot, we had Lowe's. Now, I like both of them, but really my favorite one out of all of these, and they're not publicly traded, is Menards. I shop at Menards all the time. They have the 11% sale. But the key to Menards is they have this paper bag sale right after the first of the year, about the second week. And anything you get for 2 weeks, anything you put in that bag is 15% off right there at the counter, which is very, very nice. Okay, so I do a lot of shopping. There's a lot of stuff that you can buy. You know what I'm saying? I got Harley, so you can do batteries. I got off-road vehicles. You can do batteries. You know what I mean? Octane boosters, all this kind of stuff that you can actually put in that they sell over to Menards. However, a lot of times Lowe's, Menards, and Home Depot, they have some unique things that really come in handy at a good price. Okay, so we're looking at here at Lowe's. Okay, so what we're watching is this 273.22. That's going to be key. That's your breakout level. Now, if we get above that, then all we have to do is, what do we have here? Okay, what do we got? You got 273. Okay, then your next level, we're going to come up here, top of this candle is 276 level. Then we're going to come to the top of that candle at 280.64, and then we just bring the price channels right across. See how nice this is? 280, 270. We'll come right on top of there, 285, and then we have your retest there at 287. You crack that, obviously 300 is going to be your target, and then you just keep rolling on up from there. But you have to get and close above that 273.22 level in order to do that. Now, on the downside, what we're watching is we're going to be watching the top of this candle at that 267.52, and right here, that 266.85. That's going to be very, very key. We lose it, we come to 265.08, okay? And we just follow this all the way on down. You got 261.47, and then we have that 260 flat. Now, we start losing that, then we're going to come right down here to this consolidation area right here. So you have 258, and then we'll come down to the bottom of this candle at 255.61, and then we just keep right on working yourself all the way down. Now, there is a small gap. If you look at the bottom here, you're looking at that 254.32, and then we look to the top there at 250.47. So we have a gap and a fill. Then we look to the bottom of this candle right here. You're looking at 249.43, and then you work yourself down here to your 50 SMA here, and then we have your 200 SMA here sitting at that 239 level, and then your 100 SMA. Now, there's no divergence on this. This is just showing that the relative strength is very, very strong, okay? But if you look to the past here, this was also very, very strong here on the run-up, but then eventually it came right on off again, okay? But when you look at this chart, see how we have a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and then boom, all the way on up here. Look how nice that 8-day crossed over, 21-day, 50-day, 100-day. This is looking very good. So if they start cutting interest rates, okay, and it actually pans out to back to the consumer, then I think Lowe's, Home Depots are going to do very, very good. So for today, what you want to watch is this key level here, that's 273.22 if you're trading this. That's going to be key. You need to close above that, not just, just go up to it. You need to close above it. Then we can start hitting all these targets here that are on the left-hand side. All right, let's take a look here now at Walmart. Here we have Walmart. Now, I shop at Walmart, but I don't really buy that much there. I found out that their prices really are pretty high. And these Walmarts, when you look at these Walmarts here, they're getting kind of like a glorified Kmart. The stores are getting really messy. They got boxes all over the place, merchandise in the aisle. It just reminds me, where's the blue light special here? Coming on here like Kmart used to have, okay? But I noticed that their prices aren't really that good. On some things, yeah, they're okay. But really where I shop a lot is Aldi's. Now, at least I can say Aldi's tries. I can go there and they have nice, really good sales, but at least they're trying to bring the prices down, kind of a situation. But again, if you shop at Walmart or if you own the stock, well, then let's just see how the chart plays out, okay? So this is what we're watching. We're watching this consolidation area right here. So we want to watch that 102.45 level. We'll come up here. You're looking at 102.65. Then we have this small gap, 102.81. Then we look at the bottom of that, 103.37. So gap and a fill. Then we'll come up to the top of that candle right there at that 104.72. Now, obviously, if we crack that, then we're going to come right to the top here. You're looking at right here, 105.30. Okay, that's going to be the key. Now, again, if you can crack that, then obviously you're gonna creep up to the 110 area, 120 area, something like that. It's a very, very slow mover, but you can look at this thing and you can see the sideways action. This is basically consolidation. And when you get this, a lot of times you build energy, and when she cracks up or down, she just rips higher. Okay, so now on the downside here, we want to watch that 8-day, 173. You can see how nice it crossed everything over. Then your next level is that 99.45. And then we want to watch that 50-day at sitting at 98.62. We have your 100-day at 97.76. And then we have your 95.35 level. Okay, so everything is sitting right there, but your price is above all your simple moving averages, which is always very, very good. But again, we had a really good run from 49 all the way on 05. Now, again, how long did it take here to do all this? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot better stuff out here in Walmart. But again, you know, you just have to look at it here where if when you look at these earnings, okay, so we had the earnings here, went and then gapped right up. Went, gapped right up. Look at here, this earnings, right on up, okay? Now, this earnings here, it was already at the pretty much at the peak, but right here, we had this sideways consolidation. So basically what they're looking for is see how bad the tariffs are going to affect the Walmart and everything. So a lot of people look at Walmart, they say, you know, it's got the cheapest price. Well, really, if you shop around, it really does not. Okay, so bottom line here, just watch that 8-day. That's going to be very key. And now we just follow these simple moving averages all the way down until she folds. Now, again, on the upside, we have the gap in the fill, but really we want to get above and close above that 104.72. Then we can nail that 105.03. And then we have to see what the reaction is if and when it gets above there. If it does a double top or does it close above this, then we go to that 110 area. All right, let's take a look here now at Target. All right, Target stock, not so much, okay? So we had this really nice run up to 181, and then I don't understand this company here. They got to stay out of politics and just do what you do best, sell your product. Now, when they had that CEO, it came over there, he wasn't doing much in there in Canada, and they just took a $5 billion write-off, they ended it, and boom, moved that on, okay? Then they started getting into all this politics and all this kind of stuff, and they're going to do this, seeing that it doesn't work, okay? If you own a company, just basically sell your product, okay? Just stay, you know, neutral on everything. And that's where it'll work best. Now, a lot of people shop Target because they say, oh, it's the one up step for Walmart. But there's a lot of people now are saying, Target really isn't that big of a deal anymore. And that's the thing. So if you start losing face, just like you had like with Bed Bath & Beyond and Kohl's is having trouble, when you start losing that kind of a situation, a lot of people just won't come back. Okay, so you have to do something here to get this, you know, back in the game. So what you're really doing is look, you can watch this 8-day, okay? And let's just big this up again. See this 8-day? Look how on these earnings, how it gap right down, and then you can't get above. Look how strong that 8-day. That's why you trade the charts, okay? So you have to get above that 91.88. If you can, then this is going to be your target right here at that 94.15 level, and then we can venture on to the 21-day, 97, and then we have your 100-day at 98. And then we have 195 level, okay? Now, we can get above that. We have this gap, okay? So you look at the top of the candle, 101.34. We look to the bottom there at 104.44. So you have your gap, your fill, and then we can come up to the 107 area, and then we can possibly come up to this 108.90, and then we have that 200-day at 110. Now, if we start losing, okay, say this area, look at the price channel right here at that 90.04. Well, here's your target right here at 87.35. Okay, so this is really, this stock is like a complete dog. Okay, I mean, it's just, actually, this stock is just dog shit. Okay, let's just put it bluntly. Okay, that's how it is. Okay, look at all these earnings. See what came down, gapped right on down. That tells me that's nothing. Okay, another earnings down, another earnings sideways action, another earnings down. What does that tell you? They got to get their act together, otherwise they're not going to be a target. Okay, just because you got a bunch of stores, that doesn't mean you're going to be in business, okay? So there's a lot of companies that went out, and you could be next here. So they got to get their situation together. You know, I don't understand because what they did is that this was years ago. They adapted here way before COVID, a delivery system. And I don't see why they're not using it. I don't see anybody delivering anything from Target here. You can drive up to the store. Yeah, you can do that. You can do this kind of stuff. But when I go into Target, the prices are high, okay? And that's not going to work, okay? That's just not going to work. So bottom line is, you lose that 90, you're going to come down and retest this 87.35. Then we've got to see what the reaction is once it gets there. There's a crack through. Then you can just drift right on to the 75 level, down to the 50 level, right down to the 40s where that stock used to be, okay? But the upside right there is that 8-day is everything. You can see how it's just crushing it. You get above that 8-day, then you got the target at that 21-day, you got that 100-day, we got that 50-day, and then we can come all the way up here to the top of that candle, that 108 level, and then 110 level. But you've got to reverse this downtrend situation. Now we look at the RSI here. We're hanging on the bottom. You're not oversold here at all. This could go lower, and the green is below your red. This is something that this is the stock that I kind of would just say I would stay away from right now until we can reverse this situation and start breaking back on the upside. All right, let's take a look here now at TJX. Okay, as far as TJX, this is one of my favorite trades. Okay, for a simple reason is anytime you go to a TJ Maxx, or now they have these home stores. So where I live, they have a home store. They also have they actually bought out Bed Bath and Beyond's old building, and they put TJ Maxx in there. Okay, the thing I like about TJ Maxx, you can go in there a lot of times and say I can't find nothing, but it's all about the hunt. When you go into these stores, the TJ Maxx, the home store, these places are busy because all these people are doing the same thing I'm doing. You don't know what you're going to find when you get there. Okay, it's all about that hunt situation. And let's just take a look at the earnings. Okay, so we had this earnings period here, not too bad at all. This earning period came on down. This one came on down, but here's the last one, popped right on up here nicely. Okay, now we look at here where you have just a very, very strong situation. Okay, same way here, very, very strong situation. And look at this 8 day, how nice we're holding this. Okay, reminds me of that Microsoft chart. Okay, that's what we're going. That's what we're doing. Now, here's what you want to hold. You want to hold that 139.91. If we lose that, we'll come down to yesterday's low, 138.71, and then we're going to come down to this 137.24. That's going to be very, very key. Okay, we lose that, you got 136.20. Come to the bottom here, and we're looking at a 134.75. We'll come to the bottom there. You're looking at 132.01, and then we have your 130, your 50 day. We have your 100 day at 129, and then we have 125 is your 200 day. Now here on the upside, what we're watching is she had a big pop-up candle that was there on the earnings, so it just popped in kind of a drop situation. But you didn't lose that 8 day. That's the key. Now, you got to get above this level here, 141.50. That's going to be very, very key. If we can, then we'll attack that 145.58 and we'll head for that 150 level. Just that simple. So for really what you want to watch is watch that 8 day. We lose that, you go to the 21 day. You lose that, we have a lot of support. But again, you're going to aim right for that key 50 day. But when you look at this chart, you can see bottom left, upper right. See how we had this double bottom? See how nice that is? See that double bottom situation? And then we're just rallying up here very nice. Now, this one here would be a very, very good play. If the interest rates come on down, this is in play. But I look at our TJ Maxx that we have here, and we look at the one like the home store. Man, they are just always, always busy. So again, watch that 8 day, lose that 21 day. The key is a close above that 145.58. You crack above that, and you want to hit that 150 and move right on up. Let's take a look here now at Costco. Here we have Costco. Now let's take a look at these earnings. We had up here, we had sideways action, a little down on this one here, a really good, nice one. And this is how I trade Costco. I buy this before earnings. All right, and I run it up into earnings. So I trade this 4 times a year. Realistically, I don't really trade this. Okay, so I wait for the earnings. I run that bad boy up here, and I dump it right into the earnings. If you ever look at what these earnings are, okay, every time you see these earnings, they come on out here. The earnings are great. They're off the hook earnings. It sells right on down. Same thing here. Earnings came, sold right on down. Earnings here, sold right on down. So basically, I just say if I buy this, it's like I buy Apple. Okay, so I sell it. I buy it actually Apple 5 times a year, 4 times into the earnings and 1 time to the event that they just had. All right, so now the stock is up here today, but I don't care. I'm already long gone out of that. I run it into that, and then the stock just dumps out. If you want to buy it up again, you can. But it's the same thing with Costco. Now this will run up. You can see how we have a really nice, good double bottom situation going. We just got to get back above this 999 level, and then we'll rally right back up here before the next earnings. So really I look at about 3-4 weeks before the earnings come out, I'll jump into it and ride that bad boy up and then dump it. Okay, take your profits and then wait for the next earnings. There's a lot of stuff to trade. So let's just take a look at the chart. So what we're really watching is this 8 day at a 959. Okay, on the upside, we're looking right there at that 961, and then we have that 962 level. If we can get above that, we have that 200 at 976, and then we have 100 and 982, and then 999 all the way up here. Now, once we crack that 999 level, this is what you're looking for, is that 1005. Then we're going to come right on top of that candle, 1020. Then we look to the left of the chart, 1039. And then we can venture all the way up here to that 167 and then 178 retest. Now, we had this double top situation, 178, 162, and then she came right on down. But again, it's these earnings. You're running up into the earnings, and then you just dump it out because it's going to fall right down. And you can rebuy this, down much, much lower. So what we have going on here, you're only sitting at 49. That's not overbought, oversold. We got sideways action. So to me, I'm just going to wait on this until I can find a good buying opportunity. Then I'll take it long before the earnings, and then we just run it up and then we sell it. But right now, Costco is a very, very always in play. It's a big warehouse. It's like Sam's. I'm a member of Sam's. I like the Sam's. You can buy bulk. And a lot of times, the prices are going a little bit higher, but a lot of things you can get some pretty good deals on. Another thing I like about what the Sam's is they actually have butchers there. So you can have any kind of meat, anything cut up there for you, just how you want it. There's no charge. There's none of that kind of stuff. So it really looks good. And their gasoline is always the cheapest in town. There's been times here that they're 30, 35 cents cheaper than anybody else. So, and Sam's and Costco, where I am, they all fight each other. So if one is $3 a gallon, the other one's $3 a gallon. People can, the other, like Shell and Mobil, they could be, $3.40 a gallon. They don't care. They're going to stay right there at that same price. They're going to match each other. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here after your pit close. We'll take a look at Bitcoin. We'll take a look at that Ethereum ETF, ETHU, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas. We'll take a look at the indexes, which are nice and green. All right, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.